Good evening, hello and welcome to the news today, your destination for the news, the newsmakers, the talking points, the start of a brand new week. This is where we'll get you all the day's top stories and perspective. First, headlines at 9. After Prime Minister Modi's claim that every Indian village has been electrified, an India Today reality check finds that many rural states in many states have not received electricity since the nation achieved independence. Tonight, we'll be joined by the newsmaker Power Minister R.K. Singh. Is the government's claim hype or reality? But first, our top story tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi last night told the country that all villages had been electrified. It was his big promise that he made, or big claim that he made in his Mann Ki Baat. But what is the reality in this country? Is the Prime Minister right in saying that all villages have been electrified, or is the government being economical with the truth? India Today decided to actually go across the country, particularly to power deficient states, to find out what was the ground reality. Tonight, our top story looks at the darkness behind the power claims.
The Modi government claims that the mammoth task of supplying electricity to every village of India has finally been achieved 71 years after independence.
125 करोड़ देशवासियों की टीम इंडिया का संकल्प है इन 18,500 गांवों में 1000 दिन के अंदर बिजली का खंभा, बिजली का तार और बिजली पहुंचे, ये काम पूरा करके दिया जाए.
While the government pats itself on the back, the reality in India's village is a picture in stark contrast. In the Ali Rajpur district of Madhya Pradesh, even after 71 years of independence, the villagers have never seen a light bulb.
हमारे गांव में आज तक बिजली आज़ादी के बाद उपलब्ध नहीं हुई है. आज भी हमारे गांव में लोग चिमनी का उपयोग कर रहे हैं, जो केरोसिन के लिए दर दर भटकते हैं. केरोसिन भी सही समय पर चिमनी जलाने के लिए नहीं मिलता है, और हमें पढ़ने के लिए भी हमें चिमनी का उपयोग कर रहा है, और जिसके कारण हम गांव में रात के समय पे पढ़ाई नहीं कर पा रहे हैं.
There are more than 50 villages in the Raisan district of Madhya Pradesh with zero supply of power.
Well, about 100 kilometers from Bhopal, in Vidisha, which is represented by the Union Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj, there is a cluster of villages where villages are saying that they have not got electricity for the past 4 years just because of the fact that they voted against the ruling party.
Conditions in the Sant Kabir Nagar village of Uttar Pradesh is the same, where life is a constant battle with darkness.
शादी है तब से लाइट नहीं आई है. 8 साल से ऊपर हो गया, स्कूल बने, यहाँ पर नहीं लगी हुई लाइट. ये समझ लीजिए कि मतलब पंखा लगा हुआ है, बिजली लगी हुई है, लाइट का यहाँ पर कोई व्यवस्था नहीं हुई है. कोई भी सरकार आता बोलता हम लोग करा देंगे, हम धरा देंगे, मतलब यहाँ पर कोई करने धरने के लिए राजी नहीं है.
90 kilometers away from Jharkhand's capital city Ranchi lies Saraikela municipality, and the ground reality is far from the bright picture that government paints.
खंबा गाड़ दिए हैं, आज देंगे कल देंगे बोलते हैं, कुछ करते नहीं है.
अच्छा,
हाँ.
खंबा गड़ा हुआ है, लेकिन इलेक्ट्रिक नहीं है.
नहीं.
कब से खंबा गड़ा हुआ है?
हो गया 6-7 महीना से.
फॉर्म भरा है पंचायत में, लेकिन आएगा बोलता है, किंतु आया नहीं. झूठ तो बोलता है, लेकिन तो लाइन तो नहीं आता है. सब हर गली में लाइन हो जाना बोलता है, लेकिन तो आया नहीं.
Things are no different in Dholpur district of Rajasthan.
इतने नेता लोग हो गए, उनने भी आज तक वोट मांग के चले जाते हैं, कोई सुविधा नहीं करते हैं, वादा करते हैं कि ये काम कराएंगे, कोई काम नहीं आज तक किया है। और हमारे गांव में सब लोग मजदूर हैं, इसलिए सारी गांव की स्थिति बहुत ज़्यादा खराब है। सड़क और बिजली लाइट भी नहीं है, बिल्कुल नहीं है।
It's a long walk for villagers near Odisha's Jharsuguda for a daily affair like charging their mobile phones. Poles were installed 2 years ago, but no connection yet in Kharswan, Jharkhand. Electrification started in Jhandana, Madhya Pradesh in April 2018. Villagers travel 5 kilometers to charge phones in Jharsuguda, Odisha. Wires laid down but no power connection in Jharsuguda, Odisha. Over 50 villages don't have electricity in Madhya Pradesh.
मोबाइल कैसे यूज कर, कैसे चार्ज कर पाते हैं उसको?
5 किलोमीटर दूर जाके चार्ज करके लाते हैं, फिर मोबाइल से बात करते हैं।
India Today's reality check brings out the dismal picture, a picture that shames the country. With no signs of electricity, it is dark age for crores of households across India. With Hemendra Sharma in Bhopal and Devankur Vadhavan in Jaipur, Bureau Report, India Today.
Predictably, the Prime Minister's claim that all villages have been electrified has set off a political debate. Listen in to former Power Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia and the BJP's Minister Mahesh Sharma.
आज मुझे खुशी है जो आज तारीख उन्होंने निश्चित की थी, उससे पहले आज 18,000 गांव में, आज देश का एक भी गांव ऐसा नहीं जहां बिजली ना हो, और अब उनकी योजना है कि एक-एक घर तक सौभाग्य के नाम से बिजली जाएगी।
In the UPA tenure, we electrified close to 1,07,500 villages over a period of 10 years. That works out to roughly about 11,000 villages per year. That is our achievement. That is our contribution to our great country. And the BJP's habit of creating a shroud of an illusion can only be perpetrated up till a certain amount.
So what is the reality? Let's tell you in numbers. Is the Prime Minister right in claiming that all villages have been electrified? Let's take a look at where this country stands. Remember, there's a distinction between villages being electrified and households being electrified. Take a look then at the states where the numbers stand. Now, households. Do I get electricity in my household? 52% in Jharkhand villages, household villages are not electrified. So it's villages, remember, can be electrified when only 10% of a village is electrified. That's enough to say the entire village is electrified. Uttar Pradesh, 44% are unelectrified. 44% of India's most populous state. Assam, 43% households are still unelectrified. The households do not get. So a village, 10% of a village doesn't mean that the entire households of that village are getting electrified. Odisha, 36% are unelectrified. Arunachal Pradesh, 35% households are unelectrified. Bihar, 26% are unelectrified. Rajasthan, 21% are unelectrified. So large parts of North and East India, Jammu and Kashmir, 21% are unelectrified. Uttarakhand, 11% are unelectrified. Karnataka, 6% are unelectrified. Haryana, 4% are unelectrified. Maharashtra, 2% households are unelectrified. Punjab, fully electrified in terms of households. Andhra Pradesh, fully electrified in terms of households. So you can see certain states have moved ahead, others have been left behind. The south doing much better. Tamil Nadu again, fully electrified. Okay, so given that big picture, let's go to my first newsmaker. Joining me now, the Minister for Power, R.K. Singh, joins me tonight. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Singh, because within hours of the Prime Minister claiming all villages had been electrified, the Congress has hit back. Its spokesperson, Rajdeep Singh Surjewala, Mr. Minister, claims the BJP is taking credit for what was started by the Congress and that 97% of India's villages were actually electrified by 2014 when the Congress was in power.
Rajiv, there are two things. One is that, this is 71 years now after independence. Imagine, we had to wait 71 years for the power to reach all the villages. Now, who was there for these 71 years? How many years was the Congress there? Why did they do it during their time? They just did not have the will. They did not have the determination. They did not have the courage to say that I will connect every village in so and so time frame. They should have said it. They should have done it.
No.
Why have they? Why did they not do it?
Mr. Singh, they are in fact claiming that they've done it. They are claiming that between the Congress claims between 2004 and 2014, when the UPA was in power, the Congress electrified 1,07,600 villages, about 10 lakh villages a year. The BJP, they say, is taking credit for electrifying just over 18,000 villages in the space of 4 years. Those are the statistics they are throwing at you.
Rajdeep, two things. One is that, the electrification which they did, I mean, whatever villages were nearby they did, but the standards of electrification which they did, you have to go around and find out or ask anybody. Under the Rajiv Gandhi Vidyutikaran Yojana, the standard of electrification which they did was so abysmal that many of these villages we had to do all over again. They would put up a 16 kV transformer and connect maybe a few bulbs in some few BPL households, and that's it. And by the time we reached, we found that the entire infrastructure, I mean, the bulbs were long out. The infrastructure had long conked out because it was it had just about 16 kVA capacity, and the load was more. I mean, in a 16 kVA, we have had to replace it with 63 kVA, 100 kVA transformers. 16 kVA transformers, you can give connection, 10 households, that's it. That is one. The second thing is that, all the villages which were in the remote area, which were on the border areas, which were in Arunachal, Meghalaya, the Ladakh, we had to do. And, these were villages where it was difficult to reach. You had to trek 3 days, 4 days to reach those villages.
Mr. Singh.
But the main thing is not this. The main thing, Rajdeep, is not this. The main thing is the mode of thinking. There's one mode of thinking which says that, look, I will connect every village which is left within so many days. It takes a challenge, announces that challenge, and goes out and achieves it. The other mode of thinking is that, okay, you give funds, things happen, but you don't take on a challenge. Similarly, about household electrification, we have taken on a challenge. We've said that by 31st December 2018, we'll connect every household which is left. And incidentally, Rajiv, the number of households which the states have reported as left, as not connected, is 3,70 lakhs. Just imagine, 37 million households still not connected with electricity.
This is exactly my point, Mr. R.K. Singh. 3,70 lakh villages in this country, or households in this country, still do not have electricity. You are tom-tomming the fact that you have electrified every village. As you yourself are now admitting, sir, more than 3 crore households still live in darkness. So is this celebration, the manner in which this is being pumped up, a little premature, more hype?
Rajiv, it's not admitting, it's a challenge. I'll tell you this is something which most people don't understand, so I'll explain it. Electrification in our country has been a two-stage process. In the first stage, you reach the infrastructure to the village. You reach the village. Now, the cost of that is borne by the government. Actually, it is to be borne by the state government, but the central government gives most of the money, and the central government, bears 90% of the cost approximately. So, when you reach the village, now how do you define reaching the village? You define reaching the village, that means you have reached the village, you have set up a transformer, you've connected the public buildings, you've connected a few BPL households, right? Then after that, whenever anybody wanted to take a connection, he had to apply. An estimate was prepared as to how much it will cost to give him a connection, whether it will require 2 poles or 3 poles and so much of conductor, cost of meter, etc. And as that estimate would be given to him, he would have to deposit that money, 10,000, 20,000 rupees or whatever. And then after that, that connection was given. So the second part was at the initiative of the proposed consumer, or the person who wanted the connection. And as far as the government was concerned, the government's responsibility was only reaching the village. Now, so we have done the first part. Now, that is, we have reached the village. That we've set up that infrastructure and connected all the public buildings and 10% of the household. The second part is again something we have taken on ourselves. Now we are telling the people, you don't have to apply. We will set up a camp in your village. You don't have to pay a single penny. We will, insofar as the BPL households are concerned, we will do it free. Insofar as the above poverty line households are concerned, you have to pay 500, but over 10 installments charged with the bill. You don't have to pay any money upfront, and we will come and give you the connection, and we'll give you the connection before the 31st of December 2018. Now that's the change we brought about.
Mr. Singh.
And therefore, when you say that, you know, we've said, we've not said that we've electrified every household. We've said we've reached every village, which the Congress failed to do in 17 years. And the next step is, again, we have taken a challenge that we will do this, we will reach every household. 37 million households they have left behind. We will reach by the 31st of December.
Mr. Singh, I just want to step back, because as you might have seen our story, which clearly shows that there are villages that live in darkness. And even those which you say are electrified, not households, villages that are electrified, the challenge is again going to be providing them continuous supply, not just intermittent power. Quality of power supply will surely matter as much as the total supply available.
Now, Rajdeep, you are talking about the next big challenge which we have. But we take on challenges. We discussed with the state government, and we signed an agreement with the state governments for 24/7 supply. And in that agreement, which was signed in 2015, we've also fixed the deadline. That is by 31st, before the 31st of March 2019, 24/7 supply should be there available. Now, the difficulty in giving 24/7, again, this is a challenge which we have taken on. 24/7 supply, the difficulty is not in the availability of power. We have enough capacity. The difficulty lies in the level of losses which the states have. So we've drawn up trajectories, and we are, pushing the states to adhere to the trajectories of reducing those losses. But I have done one more thing. While I've gone, just hear me out. I'll take just 1 minute. While I've been going around, working with the states on Saubhagya, connecting households and villages, I've also been discussing this issue with them. And I have said that, look, why don't we, divide the target into stages. And suppose you cover every district, suppose you isolate a district, you would connect every household in that district, you announce it to the newspapers, and in this district we have connected every household, and at the same time you announce that, okay, from now on, we will give 24/7 supply to this district. Of course, the only requirement in that would be for the states is that the states would be reluctant to do it unless and until the losses in that district are less than 15%. So I said that you work on that also. For that also we are giving you money.
Mr. Singh,
so that also target we are breaking up. That is there in my radar.
No, but Mr. Singh, you're saying you are going to make all these announcements. 24/7 will come by March 31st, 2019. You keep setting that as the target for household electrification now. Are you serious that you will be able to achieve that target by March 31st, 2019 of electrifying every village household? If I send my reporters now, 11 months from now, will every village in this country, every household have electricity, or is this just before the elections are due? You are making these grand claims.
Yes, Rajdeep, if you set a target and you don't stick to it, then you'll never achieve it. That is one. The second thing is, I'm not waiting for that. I am saying now, in my discussion with the states, I am saying that whichever areas the losses have already come down below 15%, there you start giving 24/7 supply.
But the fact is, as you say, you will have to work closely with the state governments. Many of them are in huge debt. Many of their discoms are either bankrupt or in desperate financial strain. So I'm just trying to understand, will these state governments be on board? Will you work together with them to ensure this 24/7 power by 31st March 2019?
Rajdeep, I couldn't have reached the village. You see, we give the money. We sort of give whatever support the government of India gives. For example, to reach certain villages and certain districts, we had to deploy Air Force helicopters. We do that, but the work is done through the states. So it's a total partnership. I speak to the chief minister, I speak to the energy ministers, and I speak to everybody down to the chief engineer. The CMDs of DISCOMs, the principal secretary, everybody.
Let me also ask you a query. Interesting. Someone has just sent me a tweet saying, please ask the minister about nomadic villages. I'm told there are about 1,200 villages in this country where power supply has not reached, which are populated by nomads.
No, Rajiv, that's wrong. No, Rajiv, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. When we started this program, we asked all the states that give us a list of the villages which are not electrified. They gave us a list of 18,452 villages. Then after that, they added to that list another 1,227 villages. Now, all these villages are electrified except those villages which are not habited. There are some villages in this which we found to be uninhabited. Then after that, understand as to what this means. Now, when we work in government, we work through census villages. Now, every census village has a number of you can call it hamlets, tolas we call it in Bihar and Jharkhand. In Uttar Pradesh you would call it majras. In Rajasthan you call it dhanis, hamlets, collection of houses here and there. Now, so you electrify a census village, that means in that census village you will electrify the schools, you will electrify the dispensary, you will electrify the panchayat bhavan, you will electrify 10% of the households. That still would leave many houses and hamlets where you have which we have not electrified, because that you will do under Saubhagya, which is that every household.
So what you seem to be suggesting is that this is a two-stage process. Second stage will be completed by March 31st, 2019, just in time, your critics will say, for elections. But, I want to ask you this. You've been a government servant. Isn't government a continuum? You have, in some sense, R.K. Singh, let's be honest, taken forward the work of the UPA. Why should Narendra Modi's government take sole credit for what has happened in the last 4 years?
Rajdeep, every work which we do is in continuum. The difference with us is our way of thinking. We said that we'll take on this challenge. We'll do this in the number of days. We've done it.
Sir, you're not understanding.
This is a moment to savor for the country.
Sir, what I'm trying to say, you were Home Secretary when Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister. Are you saying that nothing happened in those 10 years, that everything that has happened in the power sector has happened only in the last 4 years?
What I am sort of saying now is that our government took on a challenge, that we will do this in a certain number of days. We've done it. We are not saying that we did the whole country by ourselves. No question.
Chalo, I'm glad at least you're admitting that. No question that you electrified the whole country on your own, but you're saying you have taken this up as a challenge. Mr. Minister, I appreciate your joining us at a time when we are focusing on this major issue of total electrification. Thank you very much. Let me then raise that big question. Is the Prime Minister's total electrification claim truth or hype? Electricity for all achieved, or is it work in progress? Full electrification claim with eye on 2019 polls. Should the Prime Minister be sharing credit with UP? And I also should add, is there that big distinction between households and villages? I'm joined by Professor A.G. Iyer, President Renewable Energy Promotion Association and editor of Inertia Power Magazine, one of the country's leading authorities on energy. Do you believe that the government is resorting to hype rather than dealing with the reality as we've shown in our story on the ground, particularly when it comes to household electrification?
I think, we must, Rajdeep, immediately say that this is more of a hype at this point of time, because the government's own target is only 10% of the household, and that benchmark unfortunately has been set in the UPA regime, and they are carrying it forward. And that carrying it forward is dangerous, because our neighbor, a small country with 7 lakh population or 700,000 people, Bhutan, has got a target for 100% electrification of the households. That means electricity must reach every household. Now that is the target that we are not taking. And that target, according to the Honorable Minister, is for 31st March 2019. And I can assure you that that will not happen. Because today, even today, 80% of our electricity